Welcome back to our prayer series. If you've been with me from the beginning, you know we've been unpacking what prayer really is. Not the pretty, polished version that sometimes gets sold to us at church, but the raw, messy kind that happens in real life. In the first episode, we wrestled with the vending machine view of prayer. The idea of if you put the right words in, you'll get the candy you want out. But that's not how it really works. Then in episode 2, we sat in Psalm 13, the How Long, O Lord passage, and gave ourselves permission to actually feel forgotten, unheard, even angry. We discovered that God doesn't turn away from that kind of honesty. And today we're going even deeper. Because sometimes it's not anger. Sometimes it's not even words. Sometimes you reach a place where you are too tired, too broken, too overwhelmed, too unbelieving to know what to pray at all. And if you're a mom raising an autistic or medically complex child, I know you've been there because I've been there too. And that's what this episode is all about, praying when you don't know how. Welcome to the Be Mighty Mom podcast. I'm Ash, mom to an autistic child with a rare disease, a faith-led advocate, and proof that you can survive the storm and still stand mighty. This isn't just support. It's a movement for moms raising autistic or medically complex kids who feel unseen, overwhelmed, or even questioning God. Here, we believe in inclusion, we trust the science, and we hold fast to our faith because, yes, all of those things belong together. We rage like Jesus, love like Jesus, and advocate like Jesus. This is the Be Mighty Mom podcast. I can still remember those hospital stays when Maximus was just 4 months old. Honestly, we had a bag packed and ready to go in the hallway just to grab and run out the door if we needed to go to the hospital at the drop of a hat. We were in and out over and over again. Blood work, tests, procedures. I had to hold down my baby while they stuck him with needles, pulling tubes after tube of blood from a body so small I thought he'd run out. And while he screamed, I had to stay strong. But let me tell you something. I did not feel strong. I felt like falling apart. I remember cradling him afterward, sobbing, listening to songs I had put on my phone back when I was pregnant and was full of so much hope. One of them was called When I Pray For You, and there I was clutching my fragile baby, not even able to whisper a prayer anymore. I thought, this isn't prayer. I'm failing at this. I don't even believe God is listening right now. I'm not even sure I believe in Him. And then came the MRI, a full body scan at 6 months old. No answers. More tests had to come. And that night, when I laid him in his crib and walked into my closet, the one place in our house that is basically soundproof, I broke. I yelled at God. I told Him I wasn't sure He was real. And if He was, I wasn't sure I wanted to believe in Him, because what kind of God lets babies suffer like this? In that closet, there was no eloquence. There were no polished prayers. There wasn't even hope. Just sobs, just groans, just silence. And I thought, this doesn't count. This isn't prayer. I can't do this. I'm just angry. But here's what I didn't understand then, that I need you to understand now for yourself, wherever you are in this moment. Romans 8 says something completely different. It says, the Spirit helps us in our weakness. We do not know what we ought to pray for, but the Spirit Himself intercedes for us through wordless groans. And He who searches our hearts knows the mind of the Spirit, because the Spirit intercedes for God's people in accordance with the will of God. Did you catch that? It says the Spirit helps us in our weakness, not in our strength, not in our put together moments, in our weakness, in our exhausted, weepy, desperate, falling apart selves. It says when we don't know what to pray for. And I'll be honest, most of the time, I don't know whether to pray for healing or strength or endurance or just a miracle to make the suffering stop. That's exactly when the Spirit steps in. And it says he intercedes with wordless groans. That means your sighs count. Your sobs count. The way you clutch your child tighter counts. Even your silence counts. God hears all of it as prayer. That realization changed everything for me because I thought I was failing at prayer as a parent, as my son's advocate. I thought silence meant distance from God because I was not believing anymore. But the truth is, silence was still a conversation. God wasn't waiting for me to get the words right. He was already listening to my groans and my cries. Some days, praying for your child feels impossible, or maybe you don't even know where to start. That's why I created the free mini prayer guide that walks you through how to pray for your child and yourself. Think of it as advocating to God, asking for strength, guidance, and peace. It's designed so you can come stressed and leave refreshed, just like a glass of pink lemonade. You'll get prayers you can use anytime, even on the hardest days when you don't know what to say. Grab your free guide today at BeMightyMom.com/mini prayer. And when you do, you'll also join my newsletter where I share encouragement, devotionals, and faith-filled strategies for raising autistic or medically complex kids. A few minutes of prayer can change everything. There was another day I'll never forget after another diagnosis with no treatment. Another specialist who basically said, "We're done here." I was empty. I felt like a flat tire, honestly, like no air, no fight left. I had just been impaled and every form of air was sucked out of me. I sat on the floor completely depleted, and I thought, I can't even muster a prayer. God must be so disappointed in me. But later, I realized that even in that emptiness was a prayer. And my silence was not the absence of prayer. It was the Spirit interceding on my belief, on my behalf. My collapse was not the end of the conversation. It was the rawest form of it. So let me tell you something. If you are in a place right now, if you're sighing, groaning, staring at the wall with tears you can't put into sentences, you are praying. You don't have to perform. You don't have to get it right. Here's something we can do together right here. Take a deep breath with me. Inhale, hold it. Now let it out slowly. Do you feel that sigh? That is a prayer. If tears come, let them fall. If a groan escapes, do not swallow it. That's prayer too. God isn't confused by your silence. He knows your heart, and the Spirit is translating what you can't say into words that align perfectly with God's will. So the next time you feel too exhausted to pray, remember this: your silence is sacred. Your sighs are holy. Your tears are being translated by the Spirit into the language of heaven. This week, I want to challenge you to embrace wordless prayer. Don't fight it. Don't judge yourself for it. You don't know what to say? Don't even try. Just let the Spirit intercede. Take 5 minutes each day to sit in silence, to sigh it out, to let a tear fall, and trust that God is listening because He is. The next episode will move more into how structure can help us pray. Not to make prayer polished or fake, but to give us rhythm in the chaos, because sometimes rhythm creates space for honesty to flourish. Until then, remember, you don't have to have the words. The Spirit already does. Stay kind, stay mighty, and advocate like Jesus. Bye.